girl, Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality, queen of spice. We here, we live, we rocking, we back on IG. Yes, I just wanna definitely let y'all know. I know our episode was supposed to be with Miss Brown Box, but we are gonna be rescheduling the episode. Just know that she is okay, but we're gonna be rescheduling this for a future episode. So just know that this episode on the Mina Mendoza show is still gonna happen. We know Mina Mendoza loves cannabis and also empowering other people who use cannabis as a positive outlook, like as a positive environment. But again, shout out to you, Brown Box. We're gonna have you back. You know, we're gonna make that time in. But who's here with us now is me, and this episode is gonna be about me, Mina Mendoza, Queen of Spice, little girl, big personality. Period, yo. All right, first things first, I do want to give some flowers because there's a couple things that are happening. First of all, I want to shout out to Toast. Shout out to Toast, man. So Toast is actually having an event tonight at the lobby. So if y'all want to pull up, I believe tickets are $20. It might be $20 at the door, but it's called Cultura con Fuego. There'll be live entertainment, bomba dancers. There's a domino lounge, a whole bunch of Latin food tastings. But definitely stop by. It will be at the lobby. It actually already started already, and I think it's rocking until 12 or 11 p.m. But make your way to the lobby. I think tickets at the door is $20. But it's gonna be all about Spanish Heritage Month. Definitely pull up. I'm definitely gonna be pulling up right after the show. So Toast, you're gonna see me there. Me and Marv are coming through, period. So I definitely want to give those flowers. Everybody definitely come check out the lobby. We got Cultura con Fuego. A lot of sponsors too. So definitely, you know, show love. Period. All right. Other events that are happening. So shout out to Lush Garden State Plaza here in Paramus, New Jersey. On November 1st, there will be an event for the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. So in the event, there's going to be some light refreshments. There's also going to be some food. There's a collection for Day of the Dead, and it's celebrated on November 1st for that event at Lush. So pop up. It's free. You know, come through. Learn about the culture, which I'm learning about a little bit right now, especially it being Spanish Heritage Month. But come through, come smell good, come feel good, you know, come get cultured, period. So November 1st, Lush Garden State Plaza, Day of the Dead celebration. Come through. All right, I'm trying to think. Is there any other events that I know are happening? Actually, there is another event that I know is happening. I believe this one is at Untouchables Bar and Restaurant in New Bern, New York. Shout out to New Bern, New York. They're having an event. It comes in threes. Shout out to y'all. I believe Professor Knox will be doing some beats. I know there's Riri the Dream that's going to be performing. Shout out to Untouchables Bar and Restaurant. There's a lot of things happening. A lot of things happening. I'm really proud of the people that I'm connected with. I love to see my community doing things and networking and working together. Is really a beautiful thing. But yeah, it makes me really happy. It makes me really happy to see my friends thriving. So kudos to y'all. All right. So enough about that. Let's go ahead and continue with the show. So one thing that I do want to talk about is, I guess, definitely talk about Day of the Dead. Does anybody know about Day of the Dead? For example, like how it gets celebrated. Hold on one second, friends. Trying to figure out something here. Oh, wow, I'm slow as hell. Sorry, guys. Sorry. We live. But, I guess with Day of the Dead, do y'all know that it gets celebrated for a week and each day means something different? Shout out to the movie Coco, which I never watched, but everybody keeps telling me to watch it because it explains it more in detail. But every day it's like a purpose. So there's a day for your pets. There's a day for people that died in accidents. There's a day for people that died in old age. a day for elderly people, a day for kids. And I thought that was so cool. Like, because I feel like, I don't know, I'm not trying to be morbid, but like, I feel like when we think about death, it's a very negative thing. And I feel like with the Day of the Dead, it shows celebration to, I guess, that transition in life. I know, Mina Mendoza is getting philosophical. But listen, I think that's pretty cool because I feel like it gives kind of a positive outlook of what that could look like. And why not have a celebration? You feel me? Funerals are sad. Yo, they are sad. And like, but why can't it be like, like something good? I guess like I always try to look at the positive in things, even like when I do go to a funeral, it is obviously a sad thing because, we're seeing a person leave us. But I'm always a person at the funeral that likes to look at like the fun things, like, like I always remember like, I've been to a couple friends' funerals and like I'll be the person that will go up to the stand and make a joke. Like I'll make a joke about something that you did that reminds everybody. And it makes people laugh. And you know what? I love when people cry because it shows that you're missed, but it's still good to have people laugh in your memory. Like I always remember, rest in peace, Quinn. Quinn was such a great friend in my life. He passed away like almost a decade ago. And I remember we went to the funeral and like, we all got up to the stand and like was talking or whatever. And I remember, like, we got up there. We were like, yeah, Quinn, when we were kids, he was that guy. He was that guy to put us on, I remember one time we chilled with Quinn, and Quinn just was like, yo, steal that shit. And I was just like, yeah, like, that is Quinn, Not to remember him from something negative, but, like, everybody laughed. You feel me? And that's dope. That's dope. And, going back to the Day of the Dead, I feel like I want to tap more into that. I know cultures in Mexico celebrated a lot more, but again, that's pretty cool. And I know that's part of like Spanish heritage. So definitely look into it. It's pretty cool. I'm going to learn more into it. I think you should too. Period. All right. So we're going to continue. Going back to Spanish Heritage Month, I feel like it's so important to pay homage to our Latino artists and Latino people that are doing big things in this world. I can't say it enough, but especially right now, I'm not going to get into politics because it could get very crazy. However, what I will say is the Latino community, we need to learn how to support one another more. You feel me? Like, doesn't matter if you're this or that. Like, yo, you're Latino, you're my brother, you're my sister, you're my person. You feel me? Like, we got to learn how to, like, uplift each other and empower one another. Like, stop being your enemies. And I'm saying that as a Latina. Like, sometimes I see it. Like, Latina hating on another Latina. Or, you feel me? And it'd be, like, for no reason when we could be uniting what we have and being better. So, one thing definitely paying homage is, like, for sure, when I think of, like, I guess, iconic Latino artists in history, definitely, like, Hector Lavoe. Shout out to Celia Cruz. I feel like Celia Cruz definitely paved the way. And even people that, like, are not, like, crazy iconic. Like, I don't give a fuck. Walter Mercado is an icon. Anybody know who Walter Mercado is? Listen, I don't give a... Walter Mercado was in everybody's household, bro. Listen, I didn't even know what astrology meant, but like, yo, let me tell you something. Walter Mercado was in everybody's television growing up. If you grew up Latino or Hispanic, Walter Mercado was a staple in your household, bro. Mucho amor, yo. So shout out to Walter Mercado. Definitely iconic when I think of the Hispanic community. I don't even know what his nationality is, yo. But shout out to him. Other people that I could think of, shout out to Cristina. Yo, I don't give a F. Yo, Cristina is dope, bro. Cristina had, artists. I think Cristina was Cuban. I don't know if she's still alive, but like, you hear the word Cristina and Latinos know what that means, bro. So Cristina, shout out to Walter Mercado. Shout out to all the people in novelas. Let's keep it real. Novelas has been happening for years. And they keep that drama and entertainment alive. It don't matter what. Yo, a novela could come out from Colombia, Peru, Mexico, Brazil, whatever, yo. And I love that shit, yo. I'm not sure what their names are, but, shit, they're awesome, bro. Shout out to all my novela people. Who else do I want to pay homage to? Shout out to Selena. Shout out to Selena. Only for Selenas. Shout out to Big Pun, Puerto Rican rapper. Shout out to Tito Grams, who was just chopping it up about that. Yo, any Latino, any Latina, anybody who's part of our Hispanic community doing something, big ups to y'all. You know what I just thought about? I kept trying to dig my mind. I don't know a lot of Latino business owners, and I feel like I need to start doing my homework on that. Shout out to Marv. Marv is a Dominican podcast owner. That's your only nationality, right? Dominican American podcast owner. Shout out to Marv, Spanish Heritage Month. Shout out to you, my friend. Damn, yo, I feel like I gotta do my history a little bit. You feel me? Like, there's definitely like more Latinos out there that have like done, yeah. Like, I'm like, why am I blanking on this? Shout out to Toast out here paving ways with cannabis. Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to Melissa. Vibes is going to come back too. I know she's taking a little break, but let's keep it real. Poetry lives on forever. Spoken word lives on forever. So shout out to you, Melissa. Shout out, always making things happen. I feel like giving people a platform to speak their mind and bring their poetry to life. Shout out to you, love. Lori out here making spiritual bracelets, being the spiritual human being that she is. Shout out to Lori. Shout out to all the Latinos, yo. It'll keep coming and coming. And like I said, I want to do more history on like what that is, and how could we be better. Even myself, I want to hold myself accountable. I want to do more research on what Latino businesses are out there. Shout out to the person that owns Abuelita chocolate, hot chocolate. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All the love, my guy. All of it. All of it. All right. But yes, we're going to keep the topics going. We're going to keep the topics going. So going back, just to like Spanish heritage, I guess, growing up in a Latino household, did y'all feel like growing up, your parents were very judgmental? Mine was. Yo, shout out to Betty. My mom was very judgmental. Like, my mom, but you know what, though? Low-key, she was kind of right half of the time. Like, I would bring some friends home, and she'd be like, ella no tu amiga. Yo lo sé. Like, that's not your friend. And like, she was right most of the time or whatever, but very judgmental, my mom. Pero like, yo, shit, like growing up in a Spanish household, I mean, I'm half Peruvian and Colombian. I can't speak on so many other cultures, but yo, one thing I could say, Peruvian families are mean. Like, the nicknames they give you, and the thing is, like, they're not even mean to like be mean. It's just es chiste. Like it's like jokes, Like my family, like my Peruvian side of the family, they're the types to be like, all right, hypothetically, right? Say you were my friend and you came to my house and you were a little chubby, right? I wouldn't be surprised if I'm talking to my mom and she's like, yeah, tú sabes, la amiguita, la gordita. Like, 100%. Or like, one time, my friend, she had really big feet. Like, I remember I was talking to my mom and trying to remind her. She's like, tú sabes, la amiguita con los pies grandes. The girl with the big feet. But, like, they say it so, how can I explain it? Like, so nonchalant that she's not saying it to roast you. It's just funny. Like, you're so judgmental that you take that one body part. You won't remember the name, but you'll remember that one image. The girl with the big feet that came the other day. What's her name? And smiling while she's talking to you. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but is Peruvian culture like that? Is other cultures like that? Because my Colombian side don't do that. Like, but my Peruvian side, definitely. Let me know. Is it a Peruvian thing? I don't know. Gotta have thick blood. Gotta have thick blood. All right. We're gonna keep this going, guys. We're gonna keep this going. I guess we could talk about, Latinos kind of taking over in music. I said it back then with Bad Bunny, and I feel like it's honestly just happening. Like, I do feel like I hope that people are not bothered by it. Because, like, one thing that I think, no matter what, you don't even have to be Spanish to vibe to Spanish music. You feel me? Spanish music just makes you move your body. I feel like you could be standing there and like in 2.5 seconds you'll start moving your body. Like it just happens, Doug. You know? Even like when you try to dance like salsa or whatever, you don't even have to move your feet. If you could just move your hands, you could dance with somebody. You feel me? But yeah, like I don't know, like Latino music is I could say definitely like it's been taking over, and I'm really happy about it, bro. I'm really really happy about it. Back then it was just bachata. That was the ghost. It was like bachata and like a little bit like Aventura was like slowly doing the little breakthroughs, but now it's just like straight up like reggaeton, dembow, like I love the collaborations that I'm seeing now. I love it all. And like, I just don't want it to ever stop. If anything, what I would say that I feel like what the Latino community, especially now with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I think that's what it's called. I want our community to not lose the language of speaking Spanish. Like no sabo kids, like I don't consider myself a no sabo kid no more. And I think I'm saying it right, a no sabo kid or no sabo kid. But the terminology comes from a child that is born into a Hispanic family and they kind of speak that Spanglish. It's like they could understand you, but they can't speak it. So that's called the no sabo kid. And I feel like we shouldn't forget our roots. Don't forget how to speak Spanish. Like it's such a beautiful thing to like hold on to that language. I'm not saying that I think all languages are beautiful, first of all, because Mina, I'm inclusive. But as a Latina, I feel like it's so important to know how to read and write your own language. Like, don't ever lose that. And if you don't know how to do it, and a lot of people are like, oh, I want to learn something new. What's stopping you from learning that? Straight up. It's part of your culture. And I feel like in order to keep things alive and thriving, it starts with you. So if I had to choose something in our community to continue, I would want more people to embrace speaking Spanish. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a great quality to have, to be bilingual in that sense, bilingual to your own language. If you're willing to learn Italian and French, don't hinder yourself from learning Spanish, especially if you don't know how to speak it. But I would like to see more of that. All right. We're going to continue into the Spanish heritage, but I want to talk about something that I feel like kind of is happening a lot now. What are your feelings about AI? And for people that don't know what AI stands for, AI is an acronym for artificial intelligence. And a lot of people are playing with AI a lot. Like you have ChatGPT. There's so many like resources now that like, literally is AI. So I guess my thing that I saw last week is that I saw that now the entertainment business is thinking about hiring like artists under AI. So like putting a AI artist under contract. That's kind of scary, because it's like, how does that come about? Like, the talent just gets created by a computer, and I'm just like, dang, like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think we should go that route. I do think AI is dope to help you be more productive, because I feel like in the world we live in right now, there's a lot of demands, and I feel like having AI as a resource helps out in being more productive or making sure that you could get your things done. However, I do feel like there are some things that AI shouldn't touch. So, like for example, like creating an AI artist, that's kind of weird, like, and they already said like how they would make the AI perform, which they already have done in the past. I don't know if y'all remember those hologram concerts. That's all AI. And that was AI maybe 10 years ago. So I could imagine how that looks now. For all I know, they probably have done it and you probably didn't even notice. So that's the conversation now. It's just like we're moving into artists that are AI. And I get it. Like for me, as a business, because I like to think things as business, I get it. Like if you have a human being as an artist, you have to technically give that person breaks. You have to do things that are more ethical. That person has to go to sleep, has to eat. They could get sick. Now, when you have an AI artist, that kind of goes out the window because it's kind of like they don't need that. They could work 7 days, 24 hours. That's where I'm just like, I get it. However, do we need to go that far? That's where I'm like, I get a little weirded out by that, And there's even been episodes, shout out to Black Mirror if anybody has watched it, but that was the episode with Shorty from Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus. That whole episode with Miley Cyrus is exactly what I'm talking about right now. They made her into an AI. So like, also that's scary. Like imagine they turn into, I'm not even gonna get into this, because we could end up in a crazy loophole. All I'm saying is keep artists true. Keep music true. Don't use AI for that. Also, friends, don't use AI to create lyrics to your songs. Please. Please. That doesn't even become creative no more, bro. That becomes that's not even you. That, if anything, that could be anybody else. All you have to do is slap a face on it. And I'm just like, nah, man, if you're going to be an artist, you got to be original. You got to be creative. You got to put the work in. Don't use AI to write the lyrics of your songs, bro. I'm going to get so mad. I'll get so mad. So mad. But, yeah, I want to know what's your opinion on AI. Do you think it's an evolution or do you think it's cheating? Let me know. Put your thoughts on the chat. What's your thoughts about it? Okay. So I want to talk about fashion because I feel like a lot of things are happening in fashion right now that it seems to be coming back. So a lot of 2000s fashion is coming back and it's crazy because it's like no matter what, I feel like we recycle trends. Like what I'm seeing now is a lot of Y2K fashion. So a lot of glitter in the hair, kind of zigzag designs in the hair, a lot of big wide jeans, a lot of Spice Girl shoes. It's almost like a blend of 90s and Y2K clothing. And it's I don't know, I just think of why do we go back? When is it going to be a new clothing trend, a completely new clothing trend? I want to know, who decides that we should go back? Who decides that something is cool again? I don't know. I think that's interesting, though. When did skinny jeans not become cool no more? Who decided that, I haven't worn skinny jeans in a while. They were a little uncomfortable. They were cool sometimes, though. But, who decides on these factors? Does someone just wake up one day and it's yo, just make 100 posts of skinny jeans being whack? I don't know. I always thought about that. Who decides what's in or not? But one thing that I'm seeing trending again, like I mentioned, mad glitter everywhere. Glitter is becoming a thing. I'm seeing the baggy era with guys coming back again. Yo, if baggy white tees come back, that's gonna be wild. That's gonna be really wild. Another thing that I could see coming back is a lot of brands that maybe died off, but haven't completely left the market. And brands that I think of that, when I think of 2000 brands that existed before that don't exist now, one of them is definitely Inichi, or which I learned. Any of my 90s has know what I'm talking about. Inichi is actually NYC. It's just spelled out NYC. So it's actually not Inichi, it's NYC. Let me know if y'all get it. Yeah, just saying. But South Pole, South Pole, I think the building still exists in Fort Lee, but South Pole is another brand that was really big in the 2000s that I feel like doesn't exist no more. There was another one that I feel like those jeans was definitely a thing. It was like MF Martis Francis Gabad jeans. I remember like were huge. Like I feel like guys used to have like the different colors in the pants. But I foresee this coming back. Just how Baby Fat came back, I see Fat Farm coming back. I see those brands coming back. I don't know. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the new wave of like clothing and stuff like that. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know how y'all think. All right. Social media burnout. Do we need to log off more often? I think so. I definitely think so. I had this conversation with someone last week, and it was about Instagram. And shout out to like millennials. So when Instagram first started, it's crazy what you could do now with Instagram that you couldn't do back then. Instagram back then was actually like really dope. It was actually like a cool thing to do. You know, you made your artsy fartsy pictures, and I think back then you couldn't even see the amount of likes. It was just like a thing. You couldn't make you know how like you can make a post on a picture? You couldn't do that back then. So it was just like a picture. There wasn't no stories. So it was actually like just a timeline of pictures. And I feel like that's when Instagram was really cool. First of all, when Instagram first came out, it was only for iPhone users. That was like the first wave of it. And then it became available to Android users. And then slowly throughout the years, it started getting all these features that it has now. But I feel like when Instagram first came out, it was dope. It was very like indie vibes. Here, post a photo, you know, because I feel like Instagram became a thing of what it didn't like. Facebook was like the main social media. You made your posts, you tagged who you were with, you said where you were. Like that was the thing about Facebook. It's like you spoke about what's on your mind. And I feel like each social media platform was different. You have MySpace, which I love because it was all about creativity. That shit had us putting HTML codes. Like, yo, you were a coder, dog. But that was dope. I feel like MySpace was about creativity and creating pages. And you know, that was the fun part about MySpace. I feel like Facebook simplified. It was about how you felt. It was all about how you felt. Each post is about how was your day? How do you feel? And that's what made Facebook different. Also, when Facebook first started, it was a college thing. It was only for colleges. And then it opened up to the world. And then I feel like Instagram took it a step further. Instagram was like, okay, we don't want to talk about how we're feeling. We're just going to post a picture about it and say how we feel. And that was it, because you couldn't do posts. You couldn't comment under other posts. All you could do is just like a picture, and that's it. And then I feel like obviously with competition, things started changing. But I feel like Instagram wanted to stay away from the words and how you felt and this, that, and the third. And I feel like the way social media has evolved now, it just has become too involved, if that makes sense. So do I feel like people should sign out from time to time? Yes. Definitely sign out to give your brain a chance to think on its own without it being influenced on what you're seeing on your phone, if that makes sense. A lot of times you'll open up your phone and you'll get these thoughts based off what you're seeing. So I feel like if you literally give yourself a break for at least 3 days, it allows your brain to redirect itself and work in a different way. So do I feel like, is it good to take a break on IG? Yes. However, I do understand that we live in a world where IG, at least now, gives you access to a lot of things. And that's when I feel like Instagram or like any social media platform is beautiful, because how many people have gone viral and it has changed their lives just based off of social media? It happens. And I think that's amazing. I feel like it puts a vital resource and tool in your hands that is absolutely free. Obviously, the way you build content and brand yourself and invest, that's where the money and what you put in. But that moment of you going viral, a lot of the times doesn't cost anything. So Do I feel like people need a break? I feel like people need a break to refreshen, to create a new tactic of bringing people in. Take those breaks to start something new. Because I feel like if you're not taking those breaks, then you're just seeing other ways of people doing it. And I believe it or not, sometimes I feel like social media can stress a brain out, can stress you out, because sometimes make you think that you're not doing enough when you are. And I feel like it makes a person, I guess, question themselves because they're seeing other people. But we have to realize that what you're seeing in social media is only based off what that person wants to post. You don't know what that person is really going through. So again, this is where the breaks are essential. Do I feel like breaks should happen? Absolutely. But don't take a break too long where you become disconnected. I mean, you can if you like, but I feel like there's a time and a place for every social media platform, and just know when to disconnect from that. That's a healthy boundary, dropping gems. That's definitely, I do that for myself. Like, I know y'all see my social media where I go ghost for maybe 3 days. I do that for myself. I have to recollect. I have to like go out in the world and engage naturally, not AI. Mina Mendoza will never be an AI. Just putting that out there. Just putting it out there. Some Terminator movie shit. I think that's what that movie was about too. That shit was scary. All right. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Okay. Latino representation in Hollywood. Are we finally getting it right? I feel like it could be getting better. There's a lot of artists, actors in the Latino community that I feel like are great. For example, John Leguizamo. John Leguizamo has always been a pioneer with his Latin roots, from his comedy specials to his movies. I feel like he never is afraid to not be who he is, or like, I think of George Lopez. I think of Mark Anthony. I think of like what other like famous. I think not Zendaya. Salma Hayek. There's like these artists that I think of, and I'm like, yo, I wonder, like, I guess like something to think about that I never thought about. And this is like, completely keeping it neutral. But I always wondered, like, if I could have like a Latin actor come on my show, I would kind of like to discuss the comparisons of like, someone that is not POC. And when I say POC, I mean person of color. When a person is not POC, what does their journey with acting look like compared to someone who is POC? And, I would love to, that would be like that comparison, to kind of show like what routes and what journeys it might look like. But that's why I feel like, with my heritage, like I have to pay so much homage to it because, we do have to sometimes work a little bit harder or do more. Not to say that others aren't, but again, that would be an interesting topic. Would those journeys look the same? Would those auditions look the same? Do the opportunities look the same? What does the breakthrough look like? It's just some things to think about, But that would be something to think about for sure. All right, let's keep it transition. Let's keep it going. Do I feel like cancel culture versus redemption? When do we forgive public figures? And this is an interesting one right now because I feel like there's a lot of public figures right now under major scrutiny. This is the thing. Me as a person, I do feel that people can change. However, you have to change. Like, you have to change your whole persona and who you are and how you want to be. I mean, I feel like if you work on it every day and you pay respect to the people you hurt, it's a process of being a better person. That's step one. Because if you did something shitty, you could fix it. However, it's about fixing it and staying consistent. Are you going to fix it and go back to being a shitty person? Then that's when I lose all credibility to you. So can you get canceled? Absolutely. People get canceled all the time. You could say something weird, it'll go viral, and you could get fired. We live in an age right now that if you go viral and your job finds out that you did something, you don't even have to be clocked in and you could get fired. So again, it's just about making it right and continuously making it right, even though you messed up. That's what I feel like can make you a better person, and that's what people should strive to be. Like, messing up is something serious, but it's all about how you fix it, People make mistakes. That's the human part of this life. You're going to make a million and one mistakes. But my thing is, like, what are we doing about it to be a better person, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have made, like, bad decisions, and you know what? They just be better. So, do I feel like you should be canceled forever? Not if you're trying to be better. Now, if you're being better and you're still messing up, then yes, you just got to get canceled. No. It's just a big no. All right. Let's talk about, I guess we could talk about little things that are happening with Jersey right now, especially since I'm heading to the lobby. I haven't been to the lobby in forever. And I don't know if they have it there, but I think the lobby actually has a La Casita, like a homage to La Casita from the Bad Bunny's concerts. So I think that's pretty dope. I'm really excited to see the venue and how it looks, and overall Toast, how you bring this event together. I'm just excited. I feel like I'm excited for this new season. I feel like I'm excited for what I'm going to be doing. I guess another quick shout out that I just remembered. There's going to be a comedy special. And shout out to Joey, Steph's husband. I'm going to be working with him specifically. I'm going to have 2 guests that are going to come on the show in November. And with this show in November, it's going to be a comedy special. It's called the NJ Comedy Underground, and it will be at the Williams Center. Shout out to East Rutherford. But the NJ Comedy Special basically is going to have all New Jersey comedians come on, do open mic specials, make people laugh. I'm going to have 2 comedians that are going to actually be in the event. They're going to come through in November, and we're going to chop it up, talk about what they're doing to make New Jersey laugh. But those are things definitely to look out for sure. Also, shout out to Clock Haas Pole Fitness. I don't know if you caught it, but I definitely did a class. Definitely check that out. Show your girl Ashley some love. I've never noticed how difficult that pole fitness class is. Like, the strength in your arm that you have to have is wild crazy. And it, like, made me think. I'm like, yo, like, not for nothing, like, you gotta give it up to dancers, yo, because, like, that job is not easy. Like, you can't go to work if you got a stomachache. Yo, that ass. Like, what if you fart in a client's face, dog? They probably would like that shit, though. But, like, low key, I'm like, that job is hard, bro. Because, like, yo, if you bloated, if you this, you that, don't matter. You gotta make your money. But I'm like, yo, that job is hard. Strength. You gotta make it look good. You gotta hope you don't fall. Oh my God, I always remember that viral video. It was some club in Atlanta, and like in Atlanta, they take pole dancing to another level. They'll have a pole like 20 feet high up, and I'm sure, I don't know if y'all ever seen the video, but there's a video out there where there's like 2 dancers that they go up on the pole, and they get up all high, and shorty fell. All you heard was this. And you know what's crazy? I know she was mad hurt, but she got up and she still shook her ass. I was just like, oh my God. Yo, take her to the hospital. Please. Please. I wonder if they have insurance. They should have insurance, yo. That's what I'm talking about. Women empowerment. We need to do more. We need to be better. Just saying. All right. Other fun things to talk about. Do I feel like cannabis ties into mental health and creative flow? So one thing about me, especially, speaking about Toast, because that's how we've known each other, going to cannabis events, I feel like cannabis is dope. I love weed. No, seriously, I love weed. I don't discriminate weed. I think weed is such a cool plant. I just think that sometimes you could abuse it a lot. Like, I don't know, like, I don't, This is my opinion on weed. I feel like there's a lot of flower out right now, which is great. But I think when they transitioned into like dabs, I love dabs. Don't get me wrong. If anybody hasn't done, dabs, please do. However, I do feel like when you smoke dabs, your tolerance for flower diminishes. Like you could start getting used to dabs and then you'll try to smoke flower and it just won't, nothing will happen. The tolerance will be too high. I feel like that's where things get a little bit questionable because I feel like it's already a lot of carcinogens and toxins coming into your body when you're just smoking it normally. I can't imagine what the percentage could be with smoking dabs. So to me, I feel like weed is dope. I think weed is amazing. It's beautiful. I feel like what pisses me off is that people who ruin it. No, dead ass. Like people who ruin it because like you could have a professional job and people won't even know. But it's people who ruin it for others. Like, yo, like just being stupid. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's those people that I'm just like, yo, you. It's like those people that go to the bar and get drunk annoying. Those people. Like, why are you even drinking like that? Like, yo, like, that's the type of people that I feel like ruin the community, Other people that I feel like ruin the community is definitely people who taint the bud, make it just a higher potency, but are not doing natural ways to get it there. I think as a creative resource, I think it's dope because it can make you tired. It can help with your anxiety. It could get you hungry if you feel like you don't have an appetite. Again, it's just how you do it, and just make sure, like, as a stoner, that it doesn't change who you are. Like, if you're smoking and you feel like it's not making you productive in this, then maybe you should just smoke at night. And that's why I feel like understand what type of cannabis user you are. If you're okay with smoking and you feel like it makes you productive, then by means do that. But it's the people that be like smoking and they just give the terminology pothead, like the stigma of lazy, the stigma of, not successful. And that's where I feel like people underestimate that community because we're a bunch of really smart people, just saying. We just know how to take a break from life and exit it away and then just chill. But for the community that does mess it up for us, please stop that. We work so hard to be in the place that we're in right now. The fact that we live in a state where, you know, you could still get arrested. However, like, it's more lenient. You don't have to go to jail. You could go outside. You could smoke. I love that because we lived in a time where that was all illegal. You could have smoked a blunt outside and you could have went to jail. Now we live in a time where it is more lenient. All I'm saying is, like, please don't ruin it for us. Please. We just got weed lounges. Don't take them away. I want to go to the weed lounge. Just saying. Just saying. All right. I'm going to go into one more topic and then I'm going to leave y'all. Balancing hustle and softness. And I wanted to touch base about this because I feel like me as a person, I feel like that's always been one of my main things living in this earth. It's like I feel like I always got to hustle. I always got to hustle. I always got to hustle. But sometimes when we hustle, we develop an exterior that sometimes can come off a little intimidating, you know? And a lot of times when people are hustling, they think that, like, they don't have support from people or they can't get help or ask for help, you know? So learning how to be soft. And when I say soft, it doesn't mean that you're like a weenie. It's just learning how to be vulnerable, learning how to ask for help and knowing that you're not weak for asking for that help, knowing how to communicate and maybe just sitting down and shutting the fuck up and listening. There's a lot of factors, and I feel like balancing out those two things could be a beautiful thing because you could be on your grind, you could be hustling, but you don't need to hustle alone, you know? Put your friends on, hustle with your group, hustle with your friends, put people on your hustle, you feel me? And, like, that's when it could get better, it could get fun. And it's okay to be nicer and kinder and warmer And that's why I feel like the softness does have to come in, because when you put a wall up, it makes people afraid to work with you. It makes people afraid to talk to you. So it's okay to be vulnerable and still be like on that hustle mentality. In the end of the day, it's just going to open up more doors for you, because people are going to feel more inclined to speak to you and come to you. So I feel like I had to learn to be vulnerable. I had to learn to be soft. Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality. I have a big personality. I don't have a mean girl personality. Period. So I say for all my people out there, I know it's very easy to have that very like aggressive exterior, but you don't got to do all that, bro. Like, you just chill, you know? Listen, I want to be everybody's homegirl. I can't be everybody's homegirl if I'm a bitch. Like, straight up. It's just not going to happen. But hustle and softness go together, believe it or not. At least in Mina Mendoza's world. Just saying. All right, friends. This is where I leave y'all. Thank you so much for rocking with me today. We finally got on IG Live. We'll be live next week as well. Beautiful things. We have AK-40 Devin coming into the building. Again, we have New Jersey's Comedy Underground coming into the building. Shout out to Joey. A lot of great things that are going to be happening, and we're going to keep it going. Shout out to Brown Bucks. We're definitely going to get that rescheduled, and it's going to be amazing. 2025, cool. 2026, even better. All right, my friends, it's your girl, Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality, queen of spice. We out of here. Peace.